Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking you through 10 authors that I would like to read more from. So these are authors that I have read at least one book from, but they have a lot more books out in their published works that I have not read, and I would like to experience more of their works because I have enjoyed what I have read so far. So just diving straight in, I would like to read some more books by Trudy Canavan. So I have read the Black Magicians trilogy by her, starting with The Magician's Guild. I've read the whole trilogy. I really enjoyed it. I think they were all like 4 or 5-star books. I really loved them, but I have not read any more of her books, and she has loads of books out. She has more books out in this world. She has books in other worlds. She has loads of books. She has loads and loads of books, and I don't know why I have not continued reading Trudy Canavan's books. I think I just get distracted because I don't think I've heard many people actually talk about Trudy Canavan on BookTube, and so I just get distracted by new hyped things, and then I forget about authors that don't really get so much hype but are really good, like Trudy Canavan. So I definitely need to continue reading her books because I loved this trilogy. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I would strongly recommend it, and I need to see what the rest of her books are like and continue reading on in her worlds. So yeah, I would definitely want to continue on reading Trudy Canavan's books. I feel as though these, I'm not too sure if they're like YA or adult. I've definitely seen them, they're always shelved in adult in the UK, but I feel as though they're very much like on the border between YA and adult, or like they bridge the gap. But I am very keen to continue reading her books. Another author that I would like to read more from is Ursula K. Le Guin. So I have read the Earthsea series, saga, whatever it is. I have read, I think, all of them, or definitely a lot of Earthsea. I read it years and years ago as a child, and I loved it. I really enjoyed the Earthsea books. And then I read The Left Hand of Darkness last year, and I didn't like it, unfortunately. I just wasn't a massive fan of this, and although it's short, it took me ages to read because it was a weird mixture of plot, philosophical thoughts, and like descriptions. So I wasn't a massive fan of this, but I feel like I want to see where I fall with the rest of her books, because of going from absolutely loving Earthsea to not enjoying this one at all. I'm like, where do I fall with the rest of them? And then it makes me question myself, because as I read Earthsea like years ago, I'm like, what happened to my childhood memory? Like, if I read Earthsea now, would I like it? Would I not like it? I don't know. And part of me is like, I don't know if I want to touch it because I have such fond nostalgia for that series. So I am definitely intrigued to see what the rest of her books are like, and like where I would fall with the rest of them. So I don't know where I would start. Like, I don't know what I would read next. Maybe The Dispossessed. Yeah, maybe The Dispossessed. I feel like that one's talked about, and I think my parents own it. So I do want to continue exploring Ursula K. Le Guin's works and seeing where I fall with them. So another author that I would like to read more from is Silvia Marina Garcia. So I have read The Gods of Jade and Shadow by her, which I really liked and enjoyed. It wasn't like a favourite, but I really liked it, and I would like to see the rest of her books because overall I enjoyed her writing style. So I own Mexican Gothic, and I haven't read it yet. And I don't know, like, it's not going to take me very long to read. Like, it's like just 300 pages. Like, I could read this very quickly and easily, but I just haven't yet. And so, as I liked the writing style in Gods of Jade and Shadow, and I know she has quite a few books out. I think she's got like a vampire book as well, which definitely intrigues me. So I'm definitely interested in seeing that, and I would really like to expand my reading of Latinx authors, because those that I have read I've enjoyed. I just haven't read very much, and I feel like I definitely enjoy the mythology that's interwoven into like Latinx stories, like the one in Gods of Jade and Shadow, like seeing the Mexican folklore and seeing that all like interwoven into the fantasy world. I really enjoyed it, and so I feel as though I want to read more of that and more of that history and that interweaving into fantasy worlds. So as I know I like Silvia Marina Garcia's writing style, I thought I would continue on reading her books. If you have any recommendations for Latinx authors, then please let me know. Another author that I would like to read more from is China Melville. So as a teenager, I would say I read Unlundone, which I really liked, and I think I've read it multiple times because I really enjoyed it. But I haven't read any of his other books, And I know they're very weird, but I mean, I loved the weirdness of Unlondon, so I'm like prepared for it. And the thing is, I've forgotten a lot of Unlondon now as an adult. Like, I just remember really, really enjoying it, and I remember reading it multiple times. And I definitely started Embassy Town by him, and I definitely own it at my parents', but I never finished it. And I don't really know why. I don't think it, like, maybe teenage Abby just didn't really have the patience for getting into books. I don't know, but I don't think I got very far into it, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me, and just went back to rereading Unlondon. So I would definitely like to continue and read some more of his books. I've heard about Perdido Street Station, I think it's what it's called, and I own Embassy Town, so I definitely would like to see what the rest of his books are like, and whether it was a fluke with how much I enjoyed Unlondon, or if I'm going to enjoy everything that he's written. I mean, I know he's written a lot. Like, he's a very prolific author. He's written a lot of books, but I don't really. I'm guessing I'm going to start with Embassy Town. But if you have any recommendations of where to go to with China Melville's books, then please let me know, because I definitely want to experience more of what he has written based on my teenage enjoyment of his books. Another author that I would like to read more from is Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I have read Daisy Jones and the Six, and I've also read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I feel like this is unpopular, but I preferred Daisy Jones to The Seven Husbands, and I really, really enjoyed this, more so than I expected, so considering it's not fantasy at all, but I really, really liked this, and so I definitely want to read some more of her books. She has Malibu Rising, which is coming out later on this month, in June, which I'm definitely interested in reading, but she has a big backlist as well, which I haven't read anything from at all, and I feel like that's quite a common thing, that a lot of us have read Daisy Jones and Seven Husbands, but we haven't read any of her backlist. So I definitely want to see, well, what Malibu Rising is like, and potentially look at her backlist, because she has a lot. But yeah, I feel like I enjoy her writing style. I particularly liked it in this, more so than Evelyn Hugo, but I definitely want to see what more of her books are like when I'm in that very weird, I'm going to read a contemporary mood, which isn't very often, but you know, every now and again. Another author that I would like to read more from is Libra Bray. So like China Melville, who I read as a teenager, I read the Gemma Doyle series growing up, and I loved it, but I haven't read that much more of Libra Bray's books. So I read the Libra Bray series, and I read that I think multiple times again, because as a teenager I reread a lot. Like, if I had a favourite book, I reread it and I reread it and I reread it, because I don't think I realised like how many books were out there, so I just I just held on to my favourites. So I really liked the Gemma Doyle series, and I just really, really enjoyed it, but then I never read the Diviners. And I don't know why. I still haven't read The Diviners by Libra Bray, and I feel like I would really, really like it. And I just haven't. And I think she has a few other books out which I haven't read. I read Beauty Queens by her, which I wasn't so much of a fan of, but I feel like The Diviners is for me. Like, I feel like I'm really going to like it. And I think I put off reading it originally because it was an incomplete series, and I was like, don't want to go there. It's incomplete. Not quite ready for it yet. It's just now been complete for ages. For ages it has been complete, and I still haven't read it. And maybe as well, like, there are so many different editions of those books. Like, I don't know if you can get like a full matching set. Like, is there a matching version of The Diviners? I don't know, but I don't know why I haven't read it yet. Like, I really should have read The Diviners by now. I should have read it, and I just haven't. So I definitely want to read more Libra Bray, because based on my childhood, my teenage memories, I would really, really like the rest of her books. I also want to read more Brandon Sanderson. I read a lot of Brandon Sanderson, but I still have a lot of books to go, and so I definitely want to read more from him as an author. So I've read a lot. I've read like the Mistborn Era 1, I've read Warbreaker, I've read Elantris, I've read The Way of Kings, but I still have a lot to go. I've read Skyward as well. I've read a lot. Like, I have well read with Brandon Sanderson, but there's still a lot more to go. And I'm like, how am I ever going to be caught up on Brandon Sanderson's books? So I need to continue with the Stormlight Archive. I have only read Way of Kings. I have the rest of the three books that are out to continue reading. I am waiting for the re-release of the UK hardback for Words of Radiance, which I believe is in September. So then I can continue with Words of Radiance. But I definitely want to continue reading Brandon Sanderson's books. I need to finish Era 2 of Mistborn, which I haven't finished. I read Alloys of Law and I have been midway through Shadows of Self. I mean, I think I've got more than midway through Shadows of Self a few years ago, and I never finished it. And I really should finish that series. I really should finish Era 2 Mistborn. Maybe I will when the 4th book in that era comes out. But yes, I need to do that. I need to read, I never read his Reckoners series. I need to read all of like the Cosmere Unbounded, all of those novellas. I haven't read them and I definitely want to. There are so many Brandon Sanderson books out there, and all of his novellas like Legion, Snapshot, them, like I want to read them. He has so many books out that I want to read. Like, even though I feel like I've read a lot, when you look at Brandon Sanderson's backlist, I haven't read nearly as much as I can read from him. Another author that I really want to read more from is Maria V. Snyder, and I'm working on this. I'm working on reading more of her books. So I recently reread the first trilogy in the Chronicles of Ixia. I'm reading these with my friend Fish from Books with V and our friend Sam, and we've been having a really great time. We took a month off in April. We were meant to be reading Stormglass, but we took the month off, so we're planning to get to this one in May. But I'm looking forward to like continuing on with this Chronicles of Ixia, because now it's all new stories to me, and like reading the rest of this series. But she has so many other books out as well. She has so many series, and based on like me enjoying her writing style and me enjoying like the way she constructs her stories and the way she sort of interweaves like a YA writing style with like adult themes, I am definitely invested in like seeing what she does next and like seeing the rest of her worlds. Like, I have a lot of books that I can go to with Maria V. Snyder, and like there's a lot of backlist for me, so I'm definitely invested in reading more of her books. And another author that I have read a lot from but still have more to read is V.E. Schwab, or Victoria Schwab. And although I feel like I've read quite a lot of her books, I haven't read them all. One of them that I haven't read is Vicious, which is I think one of her most famous ones, and I have not read it yet. So I definitely need to read Vicious, Vengeful. She has that middle grade series, which I would like to read. I've read a lot of her books. I have read a lot of her books, but there are ones that I have not read, and Vicious is the main one that I need to get to. I know that she's planning on like continuing A Darker Shade of Magic, so I'm definitely keen when she does that. But of her backlist is Vicious that I really, really, really need to read. And the thing is, I have loved pretty much everything that I've read by V. Schwab, so I don't know why I haven't read this one. Why have I not read Vicious? And I feel like it's a bit shameful now to say that I've not read Vicious, things like everyone's read it, but I have not read Vicious. And so yeah, I'm definitely keen to give this a try. I don't think even know if it's really going to be a try. Give this a read. And then the final author that I would like to read more from is Juliette Marillier. So I recently read Wildwood Dancing by her, but I definitely want to read more of her books. I'm really, really interested in reading Daughter of the Forest. That is the one that's like the top of my TBR. The only reason I haven't read it, and the reason I read this one first, is because this is the one I found in a UK bookstore, and I've never seen her books in a UK bookstore, and I was like, oh, Juliette Marillier, oh yes, so I picked it up. But I really like the writing style. I'd say this read a little bit young for me. Like, I mean, I liked it, but I feel as though I'd like to see more of her adult books, and I think Daughter of the Forest is adult, so I think as though that one is really going to click with me personally. So I'm definitely intrigued to read more of her books, because she has so many, and I just feel like they are going to be for me. I feel like they are going to be right up my street, and so I'm definitely intrigued and interested in reading more Juliette Marillier and like experiencing all of her books, because I think I'm going to really, really like them. So those are 10 authors that I have read from previously, and I'm really, really invested in them and wanting to read more of their books, and I have the option to be able to read more of their books. Like they're available to me. I can do it. There is nothing stopping me from reading these books and these authors. Like, nothing stopping me but myself. Yeah, just me. There's nothing else stopping me from reading them. So let me know what authors you would like to read more from. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!